We have a box of graded comic books back from PSA. I did a PSA submission, sent in 6 books. Let's see what the grades are and what the experience was like. We'll go through the whole thing. Up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hello, panelologists. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe, do all that great stuff. Check out the description of this video for links to my eBay store, my email, my whatnot, and my Instagram. So I decided to see what all the fuss was about with PSA grading comic books. I am not necessarily like a bandwagon jumper here. I mentioned in my second Terrificon video that at Terrificon, and I asked a couple of other folks who were there, did not notice a single PSA slab at any of the dealers. But I figured, what the heck, let me see what it's like. Let's compare the grades, compare the experience. I got the books back today. So I sent them, I think it was just about a month ago, probably to the day that I sent them. So door to door, it took about a month. They said the turnaround time is 20 working days, which is essentially, including the shipping time, what we have here. So I sent in 6 books. They weren't really any big keys. They're all modern books. One ultra modern, couple 80s and a 70s. 4 80s, I guess, and a 70s. So we'll see how they are shipped back. And I don't know what the grades are. I didn't look at the grades, but I did. So the turnaround time was pretty good. I've sent some CGC books around the same time, and they're still like waiting to be graded. So, but I think that's, you know, the indication of the turnaround times for PSA are going to be very variable depending on how many submissions they get and kind of how prepared they are. You know, if they get more submissions than they anticipated or fewer submissions than they anticipated. How many trained graders do they have? A lot of things that we don't really know. And so, you know, right now, this is one of the, you know, early submissions. We have an invoice. I'm not going to look at that because I don't know whether or not that has the grades on it. Actually, I will look just to talk about the values, right? So I'll look at it without my glasses on. So that value insured. So all in, it cost me for 6 books $191, right? Which is what, almost $34 a book. That's about $10 more per book than I spent sending stuff into CGC. Granted, CGC, I'm able to use my LCS's, my buddy's dealer account, get the discount there, and I'm sending it in bulk. So that saves on the per book shipping. So, but still, this is their introductory low offer for PSA. So, I'm going to get the paper. And, okay, so we got a styrofoam thing. And there are the books here. I only feel 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's, wow, they're really, I'll show this. I can't see the grades from here, but I'll show you. I'll intersperse a clip here that I'm taking on my. So they're kind of like, this is how they arrived, kind of all randomly assorted. So those are the 6 books. Let's take a look at the first book. Again, I don't know any specific order. They have fairly heavy plastic cases here that are taped on the top. Yeah, Scotch tape on the top. Okay, so let's look at what the first book is. Interestingly, I'm feeling there's this plastic film on either side, and I can feel, oh, that's the bubbling of the plastic film. So I'm going to remove that. Okay, I guess I have to get used to which hand this is. Okay, so this is a brand new book, fresh off the shelves. I didn't even clean and press it. It's Space Quest #2 with this Mark Spears cover. And let me get this out of the glare. I'm doing this right when I got home, so it's during the daytime. Space Quest #2. So it didn't come out of 10 because it didn't get like the goldish label. I think it's on the other side, right? Yeah. The grade is over here on this side, and we got a 9.8. Okay, what I would have expected from CGC. Space Quest number 2. Okay, the credits for the author and the artist are on the back. Unfortunately, they're printed very small, and they're kind of obscured a little bit by the plastic casing. Got to kind of look at it at an angle. Mark Spears cover, Sebastian Perez art, and Joe Casey story. It is substantial. You can tell that this is heftier. Now, the other thing that people had pointed out is the other thing too is, number one, like if you have a CGC slab, I have one right here. Okay. You have a CGC slab, right? And you look at it head on, right? If I look at this head on, I can take the CGC slab and I see the title, issue number in the middle, the grade on the spine there. It's a little bit hard to see on camera, but there you go, right? The CGC, if you do it that way, it's all upside down. And so you have to kind of flip it, and it's really small print. Really small print, where all the way on one side is the title and issue number, and all the way on the other side is the grade. They could have made those bigger, and they could have made it so if you put these in a box, you have to look at them upside down, so to speak, to actually see what it is. So we'll put that to the side. Okay. Next book. Okay. So, yeah, we have to take this plastic film on it. The bags are fairly hefty. The plastic film, this is, I think, the oldest book I have in here. Okay, here's what we got. So, this is an issue of Spider-Woman number 1. It's not going to be this side, right? Yeah. This is from 1979. First issue of the series. There is some first appearance, a new origin of Spider-Woman. Jessica Drew in a new suit. It says first appearance. It's not her first appearance. They did change the origin. Maybe PSA is considering a different character. So they have a mistake in the label as far as I'm concerned. So Spider-Woman number 1. I thought this was about a 9.2. I got a 9.2. Okay, so no surprise there. It has a few spine ticks. It is exactly what I thought it would be. So there you go. They do stack pretty nicely. Next book. All the rest of the books are from 80s and 90s. Now, here's my question. Is that Space Quest, why didn't it get a 10? I didn't see anything at all wrong with it. But, you know, that's going to be one of those, I don't know. People are kind of like, it remains to be seen how many 10s they're producing. Okay, this I thought was a decent 9.8 candidate. I thought it was like a 9.7-ish. So, probably better chance of a 9.8 than a 9.6. Alright, so it's here. It's X-Men number 11, the last Jim Lee issue, classic cover, and it got a 9.4. That I thought that's very harsh. So now I'm interested in the grader notes on this, because there's no way that should have been a 9.4. We're going to have to look that up. There is a QR code on the back. Okay. Here's another big problem. Unknown cover, unknown art, unknown story. That's just lazy. This is well known. You just have to do a modicum of research to determine that it's now that it's Jim Lee. And the other thing too is it says November 1992. It's clearly August. And that's not even, which means it came out earlier than August. So I don't know what's going on here. And I do want to look at the grader notes, and I'll put them in the video. Just very light bend, bottom left front cover. Goes through book with very light diagonal bend on back cover, bottom spine. I did fix something on there. Even with that defect, that I think should still be a 9/6. What the cover date would have been? April. Okay. They seem to have that correct. So let's look at our next book. We're halfway through. Alrighty. Our next book is Batman Spider-Man. This is a Prestovic bunch. I knew this had damage. It has. Wow, it has Newton rings for days in the back. It really is like it had a little bit of crunching down at the bottom there. So I thought this was a 9.2. And our grade from PSA is a 9.2. White pages. So Jessica Drew get white pages? White pages. Yeah, I think that's fair. That's what it should have got. But I don't know if it's because it's a thicker book. I don't know if it's thicker than the standard, the other cases. Let's see. Thickness appears to be the same, even though this is a prestige format, bigger book. Let's see if they got crossover Marvel and DC Comics Direct. They have the credits for the artists and writers, or artists and writer. Graham Nolan, Carl Kessel cover, Graham Nolan, Carl Kessel art, JMD Mateus story. Okay, so evidently my recording cut off before I looked at all the books. So there were 2 other books in the order, right? Just 2? Yeah, I did 1, 2, 3. Yes. So this one was Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 21 in a 9.6, which I didn't necessarily agree with. It said something about a bend. I had this as a good clean 9.8. I did press the bottom here, and I don't even see anything that they're talking about in the grader's notes. That's not my real issue with this. Again, my issue is their labels are terrible. Terrible. They're aesthetically unpleasing. But look at this. The title they just truncate it. Amazing Spider-Man Anu. And that's it. Number 21. Right? They can't change the font. They can't push the 21 out a little bit further. They did actually have the credits. But again, the credits are up. And the cover artist is first. Whatever. That's not a big deal. Underneath the... And they have plenty of room, right? It's not like they couldn't have shifted this down a little bit. So it is hard to see. You have to hold the book at a 40 or the slab at a 45-degree angle. And again, everything's so small, and the top is just. I put these in a box, and then I was looking for one, and it's really. The font is minuscule on the top here. I think you probably can't see it. I don't know if I can get it in focus. It's hard to get it in focus because it's such a thin point of focus, but it's really tiny, and it's upside down. So when you have the slab right, in a box facing forward, and then you have to kind of look upside down to see what it is. Really amateur hour at PSA. And then the last book is a Superman #1. This I had as clean, and it did come back as a 9.8 white pages. But once again, like the X-Men, right, they did get the month right. January 1987, DC Comics. Doesn't mention that this is the first appearance of this Metallo. Right? So, come on. They got to do better than this. And again, the unknown cover, unknown art, unknown story. Come on, folks. It tells you right here on the cover by Byrne and Austin. Right? It's not a secret as to who did this. And again, all it does is you just need to go to comics.org, the Grand Comic Database, and see who did all of this. Anyone can look that up. You don't need to be employed by a major grading company to figure out who the heck did the work on these comic books, right? I understand if it's an obscure Golden Age title or some weird independent or underground. This is like a huge print run from a major publisher and the X-Men 11 with major creators doing the work, right? So again, I don't know if it's, they just didn't get it right out of the gate, but you gotta, like, simple stuff like that, right? And that gets past quality control, that somebody's like, hey, you got this wrong. Like, I opened up the box and right away noticed this stuff. The other thing, and we didn't have it here, that I don't like about the label, and this is kind of minor, right, is if you have like an 8.0, it just is an 8, right? It goes like 7, not 7.0, 7.5, 7.5, 8. There's no decimal place when the grade is a whole number, which indicates that you're not necessarily, if you just get an 8, you think that, okay, we're just using whole numbers as the value markers. Anyway, that's a minor quibble. But the entire title isn't included. And I don't even know. Okay, another, for instance, right? I guess the year suffices. Superman #1. Doesn't say that it's volume 2, which is kind of important because this isn't from 1939, right? And it becomes more important with like the Marvel stuff, when they keep rebooting and, you're all of a sudden on Punisher volume 8, it does include the year, but again, they had difficulty getting the month correct. So, I did want to compare the weight of the slabs. Here's the Booster Gold. If we weigh that, it comes out to, is that right? I gotta get these plastic bags out of the way so they're not holding it up at all. There we go. Okay. Boo, 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 boo. This slab weighs just under a pound, 15.6 ounces. Okay. If I do the same thing with the CGC, the Spider-Man is a bigger book. Let's say the Superman 1, a DC book from a year later. The Superman 1. 1 pound, 12 ounces. 12.1. So you're talking 12 ounces heavier per book. So there you see, it's like 3/4 of a pound heavier per slab, right? So if you have a short box, like a BCW short box, which holds 25 slabs, and you're a dealer taking these to shows, or you're just moving them around like wherever you are storing your comic books, right? You're talking about, so at about a pound, right? You're talking about 25, maybe 30 pounds is what a box of CGC slabs weighs. Now you're adding on to that, you're talking about, what, another almost 20 pounds of weight, right? You're talking about, like, instead of 25 pounds, you're talking about 45 pounds. These things. So that's going to be really, that's going to cause some spine ticks. So the case is solid. It's tamper proof. The turnaround times were good, but that is like, we're early on in the process. We'll see what happens if they get more orders in, if they can scale up their operation. Aesthetically, the labels, I think most people do not like these labels. If you're a card person and they kind of fit with your Pokemon cards or whatever, I understand. It's similar, right? And that's what they wanted to keep. It's their brand. but it's not aesthetically pleasing. The font is too small for most of this stuff, right? You really have to kind of get close to look at it, and the information is incomplete. You don't know who the artist. Like, I don't understand that at all. Unknown cover, unknown art, unknown story. That's just lazy, right? I mean, especially. Okay, maybe this was the first of this book to be graded, right? But somebody has to be able to figure that out. It's not difficult. I mean, I do know when I entered the books into the system, the Space Quest book, because it was brand new, I just threw it in there, didn't populate in the system right away. So, whatever. That's fine. They did get that one right, I think. So, yeah, I think, for me, I think I'm going to stay with CGC. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you have any similar experiences with your slabs, but you got to get this stuff right to PSA. Thank you for stopping by. You can take a look at a couple of my other videos here, and this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.